Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Yesterday, I did a video criticizing this company called Eitan Medical. They did something that I found to be particularly disgusting, and I shared a video with you of a gentleman who is a medical device repair technician who also thought that this was disgusting. He was trying to get a medical device repaired, so he contacted the manufacturer of that device and he filled out a service ticket along with the serial number and all the pertinent information on this device, and then after it was accepted for repair, he sent it in. Upon being sent in, they said, "This is 8 years old. We only service these products for 7 years. Since we do not perform service work on a product that is 8 years old, we are going to stab it, cut the wires, break everything on the inside, and then send it back to you." They never told him up front, "By the way, we don't service this." And they most certainly didn't say, "By the way, we don't service this, and if you send it in, we will destroy your property." They said, "Send it in." This is something that I took offense to, and also that the gentleman in the video seemed to take offense to, and I imagine many in the biomedical community take offense to this particular practice. They never said, "This specific item is what makes this unsafe or unreliable for use with a patient." They never said, "This is broken in a way that is not safe to repair, here's why." They said, "We work on devices up to 7 years old, and we have a cutoff. After that cutoff, we no longer work on them, so we are going to destroy it." Nothing to do with patient safety. So I did a video on this, and you can see it here. And what I found interesting is that the Astroturfing campaigns that I've been talking about that have been going on Reddit appear to be continuing. So a few months ago, I said Samsung's deceptive use of Reddit is not proper advertising. I was going over a very, very, very obvious Astroturfing campaign that was being done in order to promote their new products, in my opinion, and you can take a look at that and tell me what you think. I think it's pretty damn obvious exactly what was going on there. And it seems like this is also going on with this medical device manufacturer, but I want you to tell me what you think. Now, when it comes to people who disagree with me or dislike me, there's usually a specific fingerprint to it. One example would be the r/Apple Reddit thread that I'll link to down below from the video that I did on Apple's newest anti-repair thing. They'll complain about the title of the video, they'll say they don't like me, I'm mean, look at this guy's bags under his eyes. They'll use that bullshit line that I use counterfeit batteries, which I've gone over 1,000,000 times, but it's a good sticking point because they think they can dunk on me for something that's not true. They'll say they don't like my tone. They'll say that I left New York State because I like to screw over consumers. Not because, like years and years of audits and fines and liens and warrants for things that, I know the imprint. I know when somebody is simping for a company and wants to cope by deflecting my actual arguments, there's usually a very specific fingerprint attached to that. And so, when I look at that thread, I can look at that thread and go, okay, these people hate me, but this is real. I can respect that. You have real, honest hate for me. What I have less respect for are bot accounts, ChatGPT nonsense, and just astroturfed rubbish. If you're going to hate me, I want you to really hate me, not just be somebody that hates me because you're a ChatGPT message that some reputation management firm is paying for. And that's what I think is going on here, and I think we caught it. So when you take a look at this thread, it says, "I don't think they're real people. ChatGPT, are you there?" There's another post that says, "Take a look at how many hospital deaths are contributed to faulty medical devices and then see how there are people that just want to buy parts and repair without proper training. Just because you're a biomedical engineer doesn't mean you know how to fix everything. Patient safety must come first. These aren't I." And somebody else says, "This is the first post you decide to post on after 5 months, shill or bot." And one of my favorite ones is this study that I've seen posted several times from Advamed. They didn't just say improperly staffed repair devices, they said faulty medical devices. And just a quick Google search of improperly repaired medical device deaths brings up this study from Advamed. Right to repair, wrong for patients. A 2018 study showed 4,300 reports of adverse effects, including 40 deaths, 294 serious injuries from devices repaired, replaced, or maintained by third-party servicers. Now, if we take a look at this is really kind of strange to me because, Advamed is saying that there are so many instances of improperly repaired devices by third parties hurting people. So I thought I would look to another source because I read something that seemed to be the exact opposite of that just a couple of years ago. And it's interesting because when I look into this, there are a couple of people that seem to disagree with Advamed's findings. It's a little agency you may have heard of before called the FDA. So the FDA did a report on the quality, safety, and effectiveness of servicing of medical devices. Their executive summary, I will read verbatim down below. The currently available objective evidence is not sufficient to conclude whether or not there is a widespread public health concern related to servicing, including by third-party services of medical devices that would justify imposing additional or different burdensome regulatory requirements at this time. Rather, the objective evidence indicates that many OEMs and third-party entities provide high high-quality, safe, and effective servicing of medical devices. A majority of complaints, comments, and adverse effect reports alleging that inadequate servicing caused or contributed to clinical adverse effects and deaths actually pertain to remanufacturing and not servicing. And the continued availability of third-party entities to service and repair medical devices is critical to the functioning of the U.S. healthcare system. Let me repeat that. The continued availability of third-party entities to service and repair medical devices is critical to the functioning of the U.S. healthcare system. I think these medical device manufacturers actually like burdensome laws and regulations. I think they like being able to hide behind the potential that there is some law regarding liability that they are breaking, and that's why they need to destroy this. So they're saying, look at how many things break because of these evil independents, and then the FDA comes along and says very clearly that there is no evidence of a widespread public health concern related to servicing of medical devices that would justify imposing additional, different, or burdensome regulatory requirements at that time. So many people in that thread are saying, do you know the laws? Do you know this? Are you sure that you know all the laws regarding this? And it's like, this is the FDA over here saying that we do not think that there needs to be more burdensome regulatory environments for third-party medical device repair because there's no evidence of it being a problem. Dare I say it, I'm going to presume, and this is just my opinion, that these medical device manufacturers actually like there being a burdensome regulatory framework. They want the ability to complain about the fact that they'd be held liable, when in reality they wouldn't, because it allows them to use that as an excuse for why they will stab a working device rather than repair it so that you just so happen to buy a new one. They're trying to say, listen, it's not that we want to make things unrepairable. We don't want to have to stab things, but we have to because it's the law. We don't want to be put in this position, but they're making us. And the FDA is saying, no, we're not. Who are you going to believe? Now, that study done by Advamed that said third parties are bad, the study that is essentially refuting what the FDA said. I wonder what Advamed is. If we take a look at it, Advamed, or the Advanced Medical Technology Association, is an American medical device trade association. AKA, they represent the manufacturers, the people that make money when you buy a new one instead of fixing what you already own. When you take a look at their website, these people that commissioned a study that says the exact opposite of what the FDA is telling you, the people that are trying to fearmonger you into being afraid of third-party repair, are the people that represent the people who make more money if you don't fix things. Look, Advamed membership directory. Everybody here, these are all device manufacturers. All of these people over here are people that make money off of making things more difficult to repair for you so that you have to buy a new one. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to fearmonger you into thinking that repair is bad. It's quite the opposite. One of the contributors to healthcare being as insanely expensive as it is in this country, one of the reasons that when you have, you just fall off your bike and you hit your head and you spend 45 minutes in the hospital, that costs $5,000 or $10,000, is because they would rather literally cut up and stab something that is 100% repairable than actually allow it to be repaired. These people are profiteering off of fear, and in my opinion, are also starting to run astroturfing campaigns because they want the public to think that we are wrong. This is something that has happened before. When I talked about reseller ratings and how they were screwing people over, I started to get a bunch of comments on my video saying spam and misleading, spam and misleading, spam and misleading, and the same day that I started to get all these comments saying spam and misleading, spam and misleading, spam and misleading, when I looked at my viewership demographics for that day, it's funny, most of my viewers tended to be in the US, Canada, Europe, and then for one day, most of my views were coming from like South Asia and Vietnam. It's like, wow, imagine that. What a coincidence. This is not something that is new. There are many companies that will hire reputation management agencies that will use fake accounts and bot accounts to post content that astroturfs that make it seem like something is less legitimate than it is when it challenges their reputation or when it challenges the status quo. In this case, this company stands to lose a lot of money for doing something that, in my opinion, and dare I say it, maybe the FDA's opinion, is illegal. The FDA, their own words, third-party repairers are critical to the functioning of the United States healthcare system. This company probably doesn't want third-party repairers being able to save the hospital's money because when they don't buy a new one, they don't get as much revenue. These companies make their money off of you spending $60,000 to replace something that cost $30,000 that broke that you probably could have fixed for $200. And if you want to learn more about this, because to be clear, and I will fully admit this, I am a MacBook board repairman, I would highly suggest that you check out a channel on YouTube called Better Biomed. I did an interview with this gentleman 3 months ago, and I will link his channel down below. It's called Better Biomed, and he's actually streaming now to 10 people, and hopefully he's still streaming when I upload this so that we can get some more people watching. He has a really, really cool YouTube channel. What I find amazing about Justin's channel is that I think that he has a perfect intersection of having an amazingly high level of knowledge on medical device repair that makes him uniquely qualified to debunk all the garbage that you'll hear from these trade associations and lobbyists and manufacturers that will try to fearmonger the public into having to spend $20,000 every time you go to a doctor's office or a hospital, and having an amazing talent for clear, not rambly, very well presented public speaking. It's like that perfect intersection there that I think makes him a very uniquely qualified talent when it comes to expressing all of these ideas, and I hope that you'll check out his channel and subscribe to it. I'd also like to do some more content kind of debunking a lot of the chat GPT-ish nonsense that you see in that Reddit thread, which in my opinion is highly astroturfed. But I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think that these are genuine people with genuine criticisms, or do you think that this is just a reputation management firm for a company that's scared that they got in trouble for doing something illegal? Because I genuinely believe what they did is illegal. Just imagine this was any other industry. They took your car into the shop. They did not tell you what is wrong with your car. They said, your car is 3 years old. We only work on cars that are up to 30 months old. Since your car is 6 months outside the window for what we fix, we decided that for your safety, we were just going to stab the tires, we were going to break the transmission, and we were going to destroy the engine. So, by the way, you can pay for disposing of this now. In my opinion, this is completely indefensible. The last thing I think that's important to mention here is you'll see a lot of comments saying things like, how much money is it worth saving to cost somebody's life? And this mindset just continues to get worse and worse and worse. Let's take things that are perfectly functional. Things that, again, if you look at the IEC standard 60601-2-24, which actually governs these types of medical pumps, makes no mention of the fact that anything over 7 years old needs to be stabbed. If we just think about this for a moment, let's just flip that. How many people don't get health care because they can't afford insurance? How many people don't get health care because they have insurance, but the specific procedure that they need would cost them $20,000 or $30,000 on top of what insurance would cover? How many people just don't go to the doctor to get really small things checked out because health care costs so much money? Even if we're talking about countries that have single-payer health care, socialized medicine, in those countries, the money is still going to come from the taxpayer for the healthcare. There's only so much resources that can be allocated, and if we are wasting those resources, regardless of whether they are paid by the individual at the time of care, the taxpayer, or the insurance company, regardless of who's paying, if we are paying tens of hundreds or thousands of dollars to replace perfectly working stuff just because the manufacturer wants more money, what does that mean for the standard of care that we can offer? How many people are not receiving life-saving treatment or even just going to basic checkups because there's too much of a wait, or they can't afford it, or they think it's impossible to get it done? How many people are dying because our healthcare system is run rampantly, inefficiently by people that just want to milk you for as much money as possible and use fear, uncertainty, doubt, and astroturfing to continue the status quo? Regardless of how it is structured, whether it is me paying for healthcare, whether it is my insurance company paying for healthcare, or whether it is the overall tax base paying in for socialized medicine. Regardless of who is doing the paying, one thing is for sure, there are a finite amount of resources that we have, whether it's the tax base, the insurance company, or somebody that's uninsured just paying for their own healthcare. We have a finite amount of resources, and we have to choose how to allocate those finite amounts of resources. If we allocate those finite resources to paying tens of thousands of dollars to replace things that are totally fine and fixable, then we have less resources available for more machines for other people, for more doctors, for more surgeons, for more nurses, and that is a serious problem. It doesn't matter who is doing the paying. It's something to think about. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.